Hey, Justin. So we're going to talk very briefly, give people a quick overview on what our produce software does. And what I want to do is just kick it off and look at some of the things that are pretty interesting. So for example, we have links within our software. We work with Air, Eastern Distributors, Premier Pet, Master Pet, Kongs and Pet Pacific. So we're pretty good around the supplier side of things. But one of the things about produce stores is a lot of produce businesses also do business on the road. So we've got our retailer Roam product that lets people sell anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is pretty cool and pretty flexible. I know you're going to talk in a moment about information people can share on receipts, but we've heard a lot from produce businesses how it's important that they're able to manage the passing on of hazardous goods information, just as it's important to be able to sell in fractional quantities, sell by weight, and things like that. So you have some bits of the software that you wanted to kind of show to give people a real sense, a visual sense, a practical sense in what's different about this produce software. So why don't you share the screen and take us in there and let's have a look at a couple of things.
Yeah, no worries. First of all, this is the main dashboard. And without going too much into it, the cool thing about this is you can sort of customize it depending on what terminal you're on. So you might have the point of sale where they just access a couple of those things. And then for your back office, you can really set it up to have, your favorite business reports where you do goods received and things like that. And that customization does flow across into the point of sale as well. So typically in a produce store, there's a lot of bulky products where you don't want to be, passing over the counter trying to look for a barcode. So this is where we'll typically set up these hot buttons, and these can be linked to certain stock items, can be linked to certain departments, or even go to sub levels as well. So you'll see when I click on like the horse grain, I've got all my different horse grains here, which I can just select, and that brings it straight up to the sales screen as well.
Right. And the customer has complete control over all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Even going as far as where do you want your buttons? Do you want them along the bottom, the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and so forth? Nice. Another important one is the fractional quantities. Now, this is where a lot of providers sort of fall over. But you'll see here, I've got fencing per meter. If I want to sell any sort of fractional quantity, it doesn't have to be quarters, doesn't have to be halves. I can go 5.28. I can choose the item first, or I can select my quantity. Right. And as soon as I click on that, you'll see that absolutely works out whatever price per meter I've got it set at in the background.
Yeah.
And that displays accurately on the receipt as well. So the customer knows exactly how many meters they bought. It doesn't just stop at meters. You can sell things at liters, centimeters, any type of unit of measure that you please.
And so, I should also say that and it fits with what you're talking about here. When we talk about produce businesses, we're talking about produce, farm supply, Stockfeed, all of these businesses kind of roll into one from our perspective. And so that's why we've got a lot of flexibility built into the software.
Yeah, absolutely. Another important thing is passing on additional info. Now we can do this 3 different ways. So essentially 2 ways of automating that to the customer, and that's via our receipts, or we can actually attach PDFs to specific items. Now, those PDFs will actually attach to the emailed copy of those receipts. But you'll see here, I sold this particular lawn fertilizer. Now, when I go to end that sale, obviously this screen doesn't usually appear, but this will just obviously print a receipt directly to either a thermal A4 or A5. But you'll see down the bottom here, on this particular lawn fertilizer I sold, it's just passing on additional info of the best climate to apply that fertilizer in. Now, obviously, this is to a particular lawn fertilizer, but certainly for hazardous good products. However you want to use it, whether you're selling, fish, or how to best look after that fish, or in this case, when best to apply that fertilizer.
And that information could also be a PDF, which is emailed to the customer with their receipt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So within the stock screen, you've got the ability to, under the extra details, see how you've got the ability to add some data sheets there.
Nice.
So when you email that soft copy of the receipt to the customer, that will attach those PDFs.
Yep. So it just means you're able to really use the software to kind of automate the workflow around giving customers information that's critical about the products they're buying.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. While we're on the stock screen, I'll show you a bit more about the e-commerce integration, which has proven really popular as well. So first of all, if I'm selling this particular collar, you'll see here that we can have different variants of products. So typically, color, size, and style. Now, this is really important for my online integration. So you'll see here, this is a website we've actually developed for a customer of ours.
Yep.
We've got just on the side, we've got a really good web team, actually an excellent web team that develops in Shopify, and these connect straight into your point of sale software. So stock info, like pricing, details, additional info, like web descriptions, basically flows across from the point of sale to the website. And by that, I'll show you an example. So I'll click on this particular collar, it's just under accessories here. Now you'll see here, going back to the point of sale, I've set it up as different variants.
Yep.
So this allows the stock item to display correctly online. Typically for an online customer, they want to go to that one spot on the website. They want to be able to choose what colors and sizes they can get in that particular product, rather than going back and forth between pages on the website as well. So that's just done via drop-down boxes, or you'll see here I've got the different colors displayed there.
Yep.
But basically what this is doing is it's grabbing my web price here, which I've got a web price field.
We should say to people, what you're showing there, this is within retailer itself, our point of sale software. Yep.
Exactly, this is within the software. So it's grabbing the description along the top here, the web price. You can put in additional info, so I haven't got that there, but basically this information here would be displayed in the web description. Once you've got all that information, and the images as well, obviously, and you can have unlimited images. Once I've got all that, it's just as simple as ticking this web store item. So if that's ticked, that flows across to your website.
Okay, so look, I'm just very aware that we're trying to keep this video short. Tell me something else that you think is pretty unique about our produce farm supply Stockfeed business software.
Yeah, look, so we call it the bagging up or bagging down. So really handy tool for two purposes. First of all, obviously with a produce store, they're bringing in a lot of bulk product, and they might want to break that bulk product into, say, smaller bags. So I might get a 20 kilo bag of something in, and I want to break that into 10 2-kilo bags. So this facility allows you to do that and actually automate that process as well. And it works in the opposite. So let's just say I do my own custom mixes. I might want to grab a component from this product here and a component from this product. I can group those together, auto build that, and that will build my custom mix bag, whichever I've set it to.
So when you say it automates it, you mean our software really is tracking all of those goods coming in, you putting them together to create this product over here that is what you're ultimately going to sell to customers. And I've got complete control over the inventory all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, if you're making product, it actually, subtracts it off the individual components quantity. And same as if you're, breaking it down, it'll obviously subtract it from that main component and add to those, different components that it's making.
Okay. Excellent.
And look, we'll get to the ordering. So obviously at the start, you spoke about our integrations with a lot of the major suppliers. Now that's obviously bringing stock in, which is really simple. So obviously when you click on the invoice arrival, clicking on the EDI button there, if there's invoices from those suppliers, which you'll see I've got one from Air here, I can quickly view this invoice. And then as soon as I click on OK, that will obviously just arrive the stock that I purchased from, on that particular invoice. Going one step back is for creating those purchase orders. So a couple of ways to do it, but the most important way, and the most popular as well, is what we call the order by sales report. Now, let's just say I wanted to do an order for Grenfell commodities. You'll see this little tick box here, which is show monthly breakdown. If I tick that, what that's going to do is that's going to give me a breakdown of what products are sold within those certain months. So if you just want to do a quick replenishment order, I can choose to untick that box, or even in here, I can hide those columns there. And what I can do is if I just wanted to do a quick replenishment order, I can just click this use quantity sold button down the bottom, and that's going to populate my quantity to order with exactly what I sold. I can override that if I want. If I want to forecast and say do an order for spring next year or a particular season, whatever it might be, that's where those, the monthly breakdown comes in handy. So I can say, all right, I sold 7 of these in September. I might be doing an order in, say, May for September. So I can choose to, maybe up that quantity a bit more than what I'm used to ordering throughout the year.
That's really helpful when I'm doing that sort of forward ordering and really planning in a business that's seasonally affected too.
Exactly, absolutely. It's really simple to, as I said, show and hide certain columns. So you'll see you've got quantity sold column, current quantity on hand. Really important to see what's coming in on orders as well, so you can sort of make a better, business decision, whether you need that many or not. So really handy tool.
When we look at produce businesses, they're big businesses generally with a lot of different staff members. And I think being able to manage the data this way centrally and consistently gives the businesses a lot more consistency in terms of how it's managing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, just on that, with the e-commerce integration as well, consistency is key across your products. So the more you can sort of streamline that process and create that consistency, it's better for everyone.
Yeah.
Just quickly as well is the account customer side of things, the general debtors. So first of all, you'll see this sale isn't assigned to any particular customer, but I've got the ability to do exactly that. So first of all, I can, like most screens and things within retail, you can customize it. So let's just say I want to assign this sale to Justin Randall. A couple of little things before I get to the next bit is, first of all, if it's a company, it'll actually show the company details along the top there, which is really handy for staff assigning sales to customers. And you'll see here, as soon as I assign that sale, it actually discounted because this customer is on a particular discount profile. So they might be a trade customer that gets trade pricing. They might be a VIP customer that might get a certain percentage off retail. And you can actually specify what departments, categories, and stock items receive those discounts as well.
Now, I see a button on the screen there, quote and invoice management. If I'm doing quotes for an organization, I can do quotes in the software. And then if they say they want to go ahead, literally I'm clicking on a quote and I make that something that's already invoiceable, that's live.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've got a proper facility that allows you to do that. But the good thing is I've rung up all these items. Let's just say there's, 20 items there. The customer might then go, hey, can you print me out a quote for this? Yep. So instead of going into the facility and actually scanning all those products again, what I can do is I can click on the suspend sale, send it to the quote and invoice management. And then from here, I can actually print out a quote. And I've actually got one here. So it says quotation there. You can put in notes. So I've got a delivery note there. And obviously all the items that are on that quote. And if the customer wants to turn it into an invoice, obviously it will say tax invoice. And you can go one step further and actually do a picking slip. So if you do deliveries, you'll see I've got a delivery note on there. And at least the customer on the end of it knows exactly what was picked. So, there might be a shortage of stock. The staff member can easily write that on there, saves them picking up the phone and wondering where their grain is.
Hey, I'm just very aware of the time. We said we'd keep this video sort of pretty short. Yep. So in terms of the produce software, when you're doing a full demonstration, you could demonstrate the software for, an hour or 2 hours, couldn't you, going into a lot more detail for people?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, typically they go for anywhere between an hour and 2 hours, depending on how in depth you want to see. Yeah. But yeah, whether it's half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it doesn't matter. We obviously want you to be pretty precise with what you're asking and what you want out of software. Happy to do as many demonstrations as you want as well.
Okay, if you stop sharing this screen now, then. So one of the critical things that I just wanted to sort of round up on or finish up on is our starting point when we're demonstrating to, say, a produce business or any prospective customer for that matter, is to start with asking them questions about their business to understand their needs. Because, we know what we do. We know we create and sell this point of sale software. They know their business as well. And so our sales process is very much about understanding their needs and then seeing if their needs fit with what we do within the software.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that process is a structured process for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, typically it's them wanting to know about our software, but as you just pointed out, we want to know about their business as well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we can make a better decision whether we're going to be the right fit moving forward for them. And to do that, we sort of need to know exactly how they run their business, what they want out of software, and we'll say yes or no, and we can help.
Yeah. We're in lots of different produce, farm supply, stock feed businesses, in obviously generally in rural situations, from the small, almost mum and dad type operation to the much bigger operation. And so, in the kind of businesses that you've seen, is it fair to say that our software covers a pretty broad range of the areas of need for these businesses?
Well, that's just it. It is pretty comprehensive, but at the same time, it can be really simple as well. So, our goal is to take away thinking at the counter. And there's a lot of tools within the software which, owners can sort of set up in the background. And even if they've just got one staff member working for them, they're comfortable with them offering discounts, the actual products discounting automatically, and extra details on receipts. You could have a staff member that's been in the business for a year compared to one that's just come in and started working for you. And you sort of want to have that same product knowledge that, the person in the shop, that's been working for you for a year, same as the one that's just started with you. So there's all those little tools, inbuilt in the software, which can be simple, but it can be comprehensive as well.
So if somebody wants to see the software, they can just reach out to us, and either you or Tim or somebody will demonstrate the software to them and see if we're a fit. The whole idea of today's video is just to kind of take a look at some of the highlights of the software for produce, farm supply, stock feed businesses, and to give people a taste test of what the software can do.
Yeah, absolutely. On the page as well, there's a frequently asked question button as well. So that's typically questions we've come across the last couple of years from customers. So that's a really handy document as well.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, Justin.
No worries.